This is KRT, Critical Race Theory. It's not the one they teach in law school, but the one banned in public schools. 12 days ago, I announced in the Soon video that our uploads would cease by November 30th. Well, soon is now. This marks our final upload until no later than November 30th, 2024. Today, we'll delve into the last hours of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s life. On February 11, 1968, MLK had flown to Memphis to support African American sanitation workers who were striking. They were protesting unequal wages and harsh working conditions enforced by Memphis Mayor Henry Loeb. Memphis paid black workers less than their white counterparts, provided no uniforms, restrooms, recognized union, or grievance procedure for underpayment. 2 workers' deaths in a garbage truck during Loeb's tenure made tensions worse, which led to the strike. On March 28, 1968, King participated in a massive march in Memphis, which ended in violence. That went against the deep commitment to nonviolence, and that really got to him. On April 3rd, King returned to Memphis to attempt a successful new march later that week. When he flew from Atlanta to Memphis that morning, he was not in a particularly good state of mind. While the plane was about to take off, there was a bomb threat that was specifically targeted at King and that delayed the departure of the flight. They brought dogs onto the plane and evacuated the passengers. That caused the plane to arrive more than an hour late in Memphis. He was used to threats, but this time he felt like this could be serious. He was enormously distressed and disparaging. Some of his aides said that they have never seen him more depressed than he was at that time. He even thought for a moment that he should scrap the Poor People's Campaign altogether because it was so harmful to his credibility. He arrived in Memphis to make a planned speech to a gathering at the Mason Temple in Memphis. King, true to form, delivered a speech known as "I've Been to the Mountaintop." In a departure from his usual tone, this speech is remembered for its contemplation of mortality. MLK expressed a deep fear of violent death, saying,
"Like anybody, I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place. But I'm not concerned about that now. I just want to do God's will. And He's allowed me to go up to the mountain. And I've looked over and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. So I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord."
King appeared physically drained and had to be assisted to his chair. The emotional toll of the day, including the bomb threat and the exertion of coming to the Mason Temple despite exhaustion, weighed heavily on him. Then on Thursday, April 4th, 1968, King was staying in room 306 at the Lorraine Hotel in Memphis. Reverend Ralph Abernathy, a colleague and friend, says that he and King had stayed in room 306 so often that it was known as the King Abernathy Suite. According to biographer Taylor Branch, King's last words were to musician Ben Branch, who was scheduled to perform that night at a planned event. King said, quote, "Ben, make sure you play Take My Hand, Precious Lord, in the meeting tonight. Play it real pretty." According to Reverend Samuel Cowles, who was standing several feet away, King was leaning over the balcony railing in front of room 306 and was speaking with Reverend Jesse Jackson when the shot rang out. King was struck in the face at 6:01 p.m. by a single .30-06 bullet fired from a Remington Model 760 rifle. The The bullet entered through King's right cheek, breaking his jaw and several vertebrae as it traveled down his spinal cord, severing his jugular vein and major arteries in the process before lodging in his shoulder. The force of the shot ripped King's necktie off. King fell backwards onto the balcony, unconscious. Abernathy heard the shot from inside the motel room and ran to the balcony to find King on the deck, bleeding profusely from the wound in his cheek. Jesse Jackson stated after the shooting that he cradled King's head as King lay on the balcony, but this account was disputed by other colleagues of King. Jackson later changed his statement to say that he had reached out for King. King was rushed to St. Joseph's Hospital, where doctors opened his chest and performed cardiopulmonary resuscitation. He never regained consciousness and died at 7:05 p.m. According to Branch, King's autopsy revealed that his heart was in the condition of a 60-year-old man rather than that of a 39-year-old such as King, which Branch attributed to the stress of King's 13 years in the civil rights movement. Shortly after the shot was fired, witnesses saw a man later believed to be James Earl Ray fleeing from a rooming house across the street from the Lorraine Motel. Ray had been renting a room in the boarding house. Police found a package dumped close to the site that included a rifle and binoculars, both with Ray's fingerprints. Ray had purchased the rifle under an alias 6 days earlier. 2 months later, a worldwide manhunt was triggered that culminated in Ray's arrest at London's Heathrow Airport. On March 10, 1969, Ray pleaded guilty to the first-degree murder of Martin Luther King Jr., which he later recanted. Ray died in prison on April 23, 1998, at the age of 70. His death was attributed to hepatitis C. The exact source of Ray's contraction of the viral infection remained unconclusively determined. Now, you've got to wonder what they promised him for this job. After he killed MLK, he went to Toronto, got a Canadian passport, then flew to London on May 5th, then to Lisbon on May 7th. There he got a second Canadian passport, then he went back to London on May 16th. On June 8th, he was picked up by London police at Heathrow Airport as he was about to board a plane for Brussels. The FBI established him as the prime suspect almost immediately after the assassination. Of course they did. Back in Memphis, Ray pleaded guilty, forfeiting a trial, and was sentenced to 99 years in prison. Months later, he recanted his confession without effect. You know, I find it really hard to believe that this piece of garbage could have pulled off something like this. This has been Critical Race Theory. Please like and subscribe, leave a super thanks or buy me a coffee, and share this video with your friends and family. I'll see you next time.